Hey TV fans, Bored Now back with you. On this video I'm going to be talking about The Penguin episode 7. The episode is called Top Hat, full spoilers once again, as we reach the end game of the season. What's been a really fantastic season, better than probably anyone could have expected from this show. And things are set up very nicely for the finale in this one. I don't think it's as strong as last week's episode, but I still think it's really good and does some really fun things. So the flashbacks start with, which is how we open the episode, and it's what the episode title is referencing, the top hat, which people associate with classic Penguin in many ways. But the flashbacks in this show, when they have appeared, I think have been done really well, because sometimes flashbacks can feel a bit unneeded or they're a bit overused in certain TV shows. And this was never going to be a show where they did like a basic origin story. It's like, okay, this is how he became the Penguin. It's not really interested in doing that stuff. But what we see in the flashback is we get a bit more a sense of the relationship with the Penguin's mother. And that makes sense since she's just been kidnapped by Sophia in the present, which we'll get to in a moment. But we get a bit more a sense of their relationship and how they are very important to each other. But also how there is tension there and how they do have a bit of an estranged history. And I wonder if at this point it's this idea of they can't really live with each other, but they can't really live without each other, like the devil you know. And I find it sort of interesting that in some ways the mother Frances might be Oswald's Achilles heel in some ways. It might be his only particular weak and vulnerable spot when it comes to his potential downfall. But what we see in the flashback, which is interesting, is we see him watch an old movie with his mother. We see him watch Top Hat, so that's where the title comes from. But I just like this because you see them like cozy up together on the couch, watch the film. They're both getting quite sucked into it. The mother, Frances, likes old movies, so she's got a soft spot for it. And it's just a very nostalgic type scene. It's this idea of, in a way, even though you've got this young boy who wouldn't necessarily be into that kind of movie, it's just something he's sharing with his mother, and it's a shared experience. So that's why it's kind of special. And he, you know, impressionable boy, he does get sucked into this like magical, like Fred Astaire type performance that he's watching on the screen. And it never really goes so far as to say, well, that's how he decided to have a top hat later. We've not even got to that point yet, and we may not. It's a very different portrayal of the Penguin, but it's just a nice little Easter egg in there for fans. And the scene also, I know other people pointed out that at one point Fred Astaire does shoot like a shotgun. The other thing about the scene, which is a little bit of a swerve on it, is just that they indicate at one point they're going to watch Beetlejuice together, because it obviously must be the late 80s and around the time Beetlejuice was released. But then they actually watch the Fred Astaire movie, and I think that's just one of those things where it's like the younger, like the boy wanted to watch the more kind of, you know, modern movie, the maybe more exciting movie for like a young boy, but he sort of caved and just went with his mother's choice. And it's that idea of it's just a tradition. It's something they always do. They always watch Top Hat or like that kind of movie together, and it's a nice little touch. It's a little bit of a swerve. I wonder if maybe because we've had the new Beetlejuice out, then they wanted to get like a reference into that. That's possible as well, but it's sort of a nice little fun swerve. But we do see how there's a bit of a history of the Penguin, Oswald, being neglected by Frances, because we see how she appears to like pay more attention to the sons, because he had a couple of brothers who he's mentioned before, and it seems like maybe because they're the older ones, she like has a bit more of time for them. Maybe takes Oswald for granted a bit and lets them play and do their own thing. And we see a sinister turn here where the penguin Oswald goes playing with his brothers, and it's down in the sewer systems, and it's down in like this special base where we see Oswald is now using all these years later for the Blizz. And he tricks them because they're playing hide and seek, and he ends up locking them in the chambers, and he just leaves them, and he goes back, and that's when he starts watching the movie with the mother. So again, it's this fun little sinister like kind of twist on it, where you're contrasting them watching the movie and in a very happy space, whereas the brothers are down there and they're starting to lose breath and they're shouting, and they die down there, they drown down there. And it's just this early seed that's planted of, hey, this could be this guy's future. Look what he just did to his brothers. And that's just as a young kid. The actor playing the young penguin is very good as well. They really get the look of him spot on. So then in the present, we find out that the mother Frances has been kidnapped. So Penguin finds Vic in his apartment. He's been beaten up by Sophia, obviously maybe the men as well, and the mother has been kidnapped. So the penguin's first reaction isn't actually rage at like, oh, you let my mother get kidnapped. He's thinking about like the overall picture and thinking of go before Marconi's men get here, and he's also saying assemble an army. So go and get the army, and like, so that kind of thing. He's expecting a big turf war. And this leads to some good suspense later in the episode as well, because this is the last time we see Vic in the episode, and Penguin is asking about him later on, like, have you seen him? And no, we haven't seen him, and we don't see him for the rest of the episode. So there's a bit of suspense over like, where is he? Like, has he been killed? Has something happened to him? And then there's that thing later on in the episode with the bomb, where it appears as though there may be someone in the trunk at first, and your mind is racing, okay, is that Vic? And it turns out not to be. It turns out to be a bomb. So that's intriguing stuff for next week as well, what's happened to Vic. But yeah, he gets him to leave and get an army and avoid getting killed himself, and that's when the mission goes back and he has to negotiate things. And yeah, we get some good scenes with Frances and with Sophia, where her and her boyfriend / doctor like rush. They're trying to get information out of her. They're just trying to find out where the penguin's weakness is. But it's it's good scene, because the mother, that actress, is really strong as well, and we see how she has a very defiant, kind of blunt like way about her, which she's had throughout the series, and how like there is a loyalty with her and Oz, even when Sophia's trying to play mind games and trying to turn her against Oz. She's not really taking the bait, and she's supremely confident that he will end up coming back and killing Sophia. So, but those scenes are really good. And another interesting development is then it's Rush who talks Sophia into being ruthless in the episode, because the penguin offers a trade. He offers the Bliss for Frances. And at first Sophia is thinking of taking this, but it's Rush who convinces her not to convince you want revenge on this guy. He deserves for you to get revenge on him, so why don't you just, go through with it? So it's a trick, basically. They set up this trade. She sets off a bomb, which kills the rest of Penguin's men. Now, what's interesting about the Doctor convincing her otherwise and to go through with this double cross. If Sophia does end up like losing to the Penguin, if she ends up having a sticky end, you might look back and say, well, if she just went with the more cautious option and just went through with the trade. So maybe the advice from her lover, if you can call him her lover, might not have been the best strategy at the time. But she does wipe out the Penguin's men with the bomb. We've got the whole thing, as I said, with the bomb in the trunk, and that's where she says, I've got a surprise for you, and it makes it look like it's a body. It could be a body in the trunk. I think sometimes your mind goes to that. So you're wondering, oh, has she killed the mother? Vic, did they get to Vic? And it's neither, it's just a bomb, and the Penguin does survive, but I kind of like that it's Sophia playing mind games and just giving him almost like a Saw-like puzzle, because she says when they're talking over the phone, she says, I'm pretty sure there's enough time for you to get out of there in time, or at least I think there is. So just playing a little game and giving him a little puzzle, and he gets out just in time, but then he gets knocked out by this police officer who Sophia has paid off. Sets up like the finale next week, where they've now got the Penguin and they've still got his mother, and you wonder if they could have Vic. I mean, we don't know what Vic's fate is yet neither. Also in this episode, Sol is killed off. Like, the Penguin does kill Sol. They get into a fight, as a heart attack eventually, and that's a really good scene. Like, he's been a great rival to the Penguin in the show as well. And the back and forth in that scene, it's a pretty fun action scene, pretty full-on fight. But yeah, the back and forth was a good time between those two. When it comes to the hierarchies, he's not quite on the level of Sophia, but it was quite a nice comeback for that character, and him having a couple of episodes working with Sophia, I think, was a lot of fun. They made for a good duo. But yeah, ultimately the Penguin beats him, and maybe it's fitting then he had a heart attack as well, because that's what happened to his mother. But yeah, all good stuff, all good stuff. I don't think it's the best episode of the season. There may be one or two things that could have been done a bit better, but overall I think it's another strong episode and leads into the finale very nicely. I did enjoy really all the stuff with the Penguin's mother, both in the flashbacks and then in the current stuff. So yeah, that's the Penguin episode 7. So I will return soon with the finale. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. You can support me for as little as $1 a month on patreon.com/borednow. Or you can sign up for channel memberships now. So 3 different tiers. The link is on the channel, or I'll put it in this video, but you can get a variety of perks, early access to reviews, exclusive commentaries, unpopular opinion videos. They tend to be more patron, but they probably will feature on the membership as well. Exclusive access to behind the scenes stuff, DVD style extras, bunch of other things you can expect if you are a channel member. The occasional live stream as well, which will only be for members. But yeah, keep watching TV, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.